Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm just chilling by the fire here. Little change of scenery for a Facebook Live post on a Thursday. Anyways, I want to talk about one thing that I am super passionate about, that I nerd out on all the time, and that's time management. I'm a huge time management guy. I love talking about it, thinking about it. I like to get more done with less time. In fact, one of the ways that I often measure how successful I am in my year is how much revenue can I create with a limited amount of time. That's the way that I kind of think about it. So I don't just think, how do I maximize my revenue for my business, but I also think, how do I create more revenue with less time? So anyways, let's talk about task overwhelm. This is a feeling that every professional, everybody has had, where you get to a point where you have so much to do that your task list, your to-do list feels overwhelming. And it's like you're looking at this big pile of tasks and you don't even know where to start and you don't even know what to do. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then you spend as much time looking at your pile of tasks, sifting through it, sorting through it, switching from task to task, trying to accomplish one task while you're being distracted by another task, and it turns into a mess. So I have one simple little strategy I use when I have too many tasks to do and not enough time to do it. This is how I get that done. This is my strategy, this is my move. And the way that I kind of look at it, my favorite analogy, is it's like you're driving down the highway. And if you're driving down the highway at 1,000,000 miles an hour with a flat tire, you're putting in a ton of effort and you're not getting enough done. You know, you're burning gas, you're going nowhere. And so even though it feels like you're not moving to pull over and change the tire, until you pull over and change the tire, you're not going to go any faster. Your task list is the same thing. If you don't pause, take a breath, and organize it, you can feel like you're busy because you're putting in maximal effort, but you're not getting anything done. So this is what I like to do. I like to use an acronym that I call PODE, which stands for Prioritize, Organize, Delegate, Execute. So what ends up happening is most people, when they're kind of overloaded, they just go straight into execution. They're just doing anything that's in front of them. But most of what you're doing is just pushing your pile of tasks around. So you got to pause, take a deep breath. Step one, prioritize. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what are my top priorities to accomplish the result that I'm trying to accomplish? So, you know, for example, in my business, some of my top priorities would include calling clients about a condition waiver, having a conversation with an active buyer, having a conversation with a client about getting their property listed. That's top priority. So you have to prioritize your tasks. Next, organize them based on your priorities. After you've thought about what are my key priorities, what are the most important things for me to do, organize them. So if you have 50 tasks, take a deep breath and take them and organize them. My top priority is this. Okay, all the tasks that fit into that top priority go here. My next priority is number 2, put all the tasks into that pile. So now you'll have little clusters or piles of tasks that are organized by priority. The next thing I do is I actually work from the bottom up. So usually your lower priority tasks are the easier ones to delegate. Not always true, but before I start doing any work, now for those of you that don't have an assistant or have a team, or even if you're like an owner of a property with a property manager, your property manager is on your team. So before I actually start doing any work, I'm like, what can I delegate? How do I leverage my team? How do I get better results by working together collaboratively with the people I trust? So then I start taking those clusters and I delegate. Now here is a great delegation tip. If you're using a virtual assistant even, it's easier to delegate a cluster of similar tasks to an assistant, to someone who's there to help you. Because, for example, with a virtual assistant, say that I have 15 of the same task that needs to get done. Well, I could do something like hop on Zoom, use the Zoom record feature, and create a Zoom video. Now I gotta decline the call. Boom. Create a video on how to do that task, and then say, okay, do these 15 tasks the exact same way every single time. Okay, so we've number 1, stopped and figured out what our priorities are. We organize our tasks into clusters based on those priorities. Number 3, we've delegated the ones we can delegate. And then finally, execute. Then you start executing. So a lot of people work their way backwards. They start with execute and they just do what they can, kind of scrambling. The best way to stop the scramble is to just pause, prioritize, organize, delegate, and then go back to execute based on your priorities that you've delegated or that you've organized. That's quite a simple task to do, but it's an important way to manage your tasks. So I do that exercise multiple times a day. Being at the head of Mobile Realty Group and owning the number of properties that I do, there's constantly readjustment that happens and recalibration that happens every single day, multiple times a day. I've got my team, I trust them, I delegate to them. It's a really, really good way to go about doing things. Now, something to be mindful of, our last mobile mastermind of the year is December 16th. And one of the things that I'm going to be talking about are several key strategies on how to get planned out for 2020. So if you're thinking about doing a basic strategic business plan, you want to create a quarter by quarter map. I take what I do at a very high level with my organization, and I'll just create a couple of simple exercises that y'all can do to kind of just think about how you want to get more done with less time in 2020. So come to Mobile Mastermind, check it out. I'll put a link in the description for this video. And for those of you who constantly think about, how do I get more done? I hope this kind of helped. Prioritize, organize, delegate, then execute. Happy holidays, everybody. See you soon.